And welcome to tonight's edition of Winner the Mailman. And before we get to chatting with Coach Scottsbluff head coach Jud Hall, let's give a shout out to our Winner the Mailman sponsor, Auto Wizard. You all might be familiar with the Auto Wizard, located at 2910 Red Barn Drive in Gearing. The shop is open Monday through Thursday, 7:30 to 5 p.m. and Friday, 7:30 to 4:30 for all your light truck and automotive repairs. As the mechanics of Auto Wizard like to say, get your vehicle fixed right the first time by calling them at 308-633-1191 to book your service. And tonight, we like to introduce you to our head coach, Scottsbluff head coach Jud Hall, as his team gets ready to go to round 2 of the Class B state playoffs. And this week, they are heading to Aurora, what do we want to call them? The juggernaut Aurora team. One of your only 2 losses this year, Coach. And I know when I talked to you on Friday night, this is one team that you're ready for. But let's kind of back up a little bit and look at Beatrice. You guys headed into that Beatrice game, I think a 7 to 10 seed. They were the 10 seed. You guys were the 7 seed. And, it was pretty much all Scottsbluff that night, Coach. Everybody hitting on all cylinders. Give us your thoughts on that Beatrice team and the transition that you guys are making to go the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, I think we had a great week of preparation for Beatrice. We knew that they were going to be a quality opponent, very quality opponent, just based on watching their film and then checking their scores throughout the season, what they were able to do, and then the athletes that they could put on the field. We knew that they were going to be a big challenge for our team, but I think our kids bought into what we were talking about all week, really bought into our game plan. On Friday night we had 4 or 5 different packages that we were going to throw defensively at them. We didn't have one substitution problem. We didn't have one guy not supposed to be out there or too many guys out there. So I think our kids were really locked into the game plan, and I think that came out and showed in the way we played. They played really fast and played really confident.
I think Beatrice was as dangerous of a team as there was in Class B coming into that game that night. They won their first 5 games and then lost their last 3. This is a team wasn't allowing a lot of rushing yards. And, they were playing pretty good on defense. They lost 3. I think they were kind of hungry coming into this game. But obviously the offense, over 500 yards of offense, it was incredible that night to watch.
Yeah, for whatever reason, things just kind of clicked and we did the right things. Our kids, actually go back to when we played Aurora the first time. They taught us a lot about our team and what we needed to fix, what we were not very good at. And we changed up our blocking schemes. We changed some of the things that we did at that time after we lost to them the first time. So that really helped us prepare. And, I think we've gotten better each week. And we got better from, week 9 to week 1 of the playoffs. We grew a lot as a team. So hopefully we can make that same amount of growth this week going into the quarterfinal game.
Saw a couple of new wrinkles on Friday night too. The 5-man front on defense, inside the 5 there. I think that'll come in handy against Aurora too. I think that that'll be a good one. Brianna, I mean, you've been following the Scottsbluff team all season long too, and they've got a tough one coming up. But everybody I've talked to already, the players I've talked to, everybody I've talked to, they want Aurora.
So you had already talked about what you had fixed since the last time. So what are you planning on doing this week against Aurora?
We're gonna go out and try and enforce or implement our style of play. I think in the playoffs you have to be able to run the ball and you've got to be able to play great defense. So I think if we can do those 2 things, it'll give us a chance to win the game. They're a quality opponent. They're one of the top tier programs in the state of Nebraska, not only in Class B, but in the state of Nebraska. So if you get a chance to play them, you're playing good football, and you're in the playoffs if you're playing Aurora for the second time of the year. So it's a great measuring stick for our kids, for our program. We'll see where we stack up on Friday night, but I think if we come out and we play hard, we do things, don't have a lot of mental mistakes again this week, we'll give ourselves a chance.
And I know everybody wants to see you beat them this time. I'm sure Dave wants to see you beat them this time.
Oh, absolutely. I'm ready for this. Watching the tapes again this week, I'm sure that you guys have watched a lot of new film that you guys haven't seen since last time.
Yep.
Who do you really need to key on that team? I mean, is it Is it a run heavy, a pass heavy, or are they balanced well?
They're very balanced, very balanced. You can't set your hat on one thing or you'll be in trouble. You know, Coach Peterson does a great job of putting his athletes in positions to make plays. So we have to be very disciplined on the defense side of the ball. We broke down over 21 different sets and formations, personnel groupings through our film study over the weekend with them. So they're going to come out and do a variety of things. So we have to be locked into the game plan, keep it simple to allow our kids to play fast. Because I think if we go in there and we're going to second guess what we're doing and not allow our kids to play fast, we'll be in trouble.
And I know Braden Stoll and Sebastian Boyle have done well for you this year, but what are you going to do to make sure that Aurora doesn't stop them? Because I know that they are a big part of the run game that you have.
Yep, absolutely. You know, and it's great to have a 1-2 punch so we can do some different things and not just key on one guy. We put a few wrinkles into our offense, some different schematic things that are going to allow us to hopefully be successful against their defense and what they try and do. But they're so well coached, so we're not going to go in there and trick them. We have to use. We're going to have to be sound in our technique and our fundamentals, and then break a tackle or two.
Yeah, and one thing I've noticed about Scottsbluff, you know, you look back to that first Aurora game, and you know, I've heard a lot of people say, well, you know, the kids, they weren't up for it. The kids, you know, whatever might have been the excuse, but you know, I know that this was a beatable team for you guys in that week. You guys lost to them, but you know, I know talking to you and just the tone of your voice the other night, this is a team that if you want to get back into this and go deep, this is the team you've got to go through either way.
It is. Like, you know, if you want to measure yourself against the best Class B teams or the best teams in the state, you have to win this game. If you want to say you're one of the best teams, you have to find a way to beat a quality program. You have to find a way to beat a top tier program, a state championship program in Aurora. So if that's who we want to be, we've got to find a way to win this game. You know, and I think that our kids have approached it this week, and you know, we'll see. Have we made enough growth? Have we grown enough during the season? We'll find out from Friday night. But I definitely like the confidence our kids have played with the last few weeks. I definitely like the confidence that they've shown in practice. I know they're not going to shy away from the competition on Friday night.
You know, Brianna brought up Braden Stoll, and she brought up Sebastian Boyle. You know, these are both transfer guys that came in. They're both underclassmen. How much have they grown in this program just this year?
A lot. You know, I think it's taken them a few games to, you know, week 1 was their first varsity start for our program. So understanding what we want to do on the offense and defense side of the ball does take a little bit of time. You know, we're different. We're not a pro I team. We're not a throw it all over the field type of team. So what we do, our philosophy as a coaching staff, it takes a while because we start with our kids in 7th grade and still in that mindset and doing that with our kids. So it does take a little bit of time, and you know, it took those kids a little bit to grow into our program and grow into their roles, but they have definitely accepted every challenge that we put in front of them. They've definitely leaned on their teammates to help them through that, and they've turned out to be great players for our program.
A couple of names that have jumped out to me just by watching them this year that have accepted their roles. I think Josiah Mobley and Jackson Ostick have both done an excellent job of accepting where they are on the field and what their job is on the field. Coach, I know you don't like to talk about single guys. It's a team effort, but it looks like these guys have really come together by now.
Yeah, they have. You know, and those two kids that you just mentioned could have came into the season, and you know, in the off season, I'm sure, you know, Josiah going from being the JV quarterback last year, our senior quarterback going out, assuming that he was going to be the starting guy, you know, and go through fall camp and then lose that competition in fall camp or lose that battle, could have turned to sour grapes and tucked his head, been a me guy instead of a team guy, and he was completely opposite, accepted his role, said to me when I talked to both quarterbacks, said, Coach, I don't care, I just want to win. And that says a lot about that young man. Jackson, starting running back last year, in almost every game. 10 games last year was our starting running back. Came into this season, even during the summertime, he said, you know what, I might have to focus on defense this year because this kid is really good, and accepted that role in our program, in our offense as well, and turned into be a leader on the defense side of the ball. Calls all our coverages, calls all our blitz pickups on the defensive side of the ball. So he's taken ownership of his role on the defensive side of the ball and is another total team guy.
And I'm sure Brianna would agree with me on this one. That is attributed to your coaching staff, you and your coaching staff.
Yeah, no, it's really attributed to the parents at home of those kids. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
those are great young men, and they've learned a lot of lessons through their parents at home that put them in those situations, because not every kid would handle that situation that way. And those two guys have bought in and have become total team guys and are excited that we're still playing.
I mean, I feel like it also has to do with the grit of the players, like just wanting to play. They don't care where they are.
Yep. That's kind of what we want to build our program around. You know, we don't want to be a flashy, fancy this or that. We want to be able to run the ball, and we want to be able to play great defense. And to play in November, you have to do that, and that's our goal. We don't want to win, 6 games a year. We don't want to win 7 games a year. We want to be playing in November. That's what we tell our kids. That's what we start teaching our kids when we show up in August. If you want to play in November, you got to do this, you got to do that, and our kids, have bought into what we're selling them.
And you talk about the balance, the rushing. You got to establish that rush. But Braden's passing. The handful of times he threw the ball the other night were right on the money.
Yep, and we're about 80-20 run to pass this year, so it's a little bit more pass than we have been in the past. More pass than we have been in the, we've run this offense now for 9 years, so a little bit more pass than we have been over that course of the time. But we'll take what the defense gives us, and we have a very capable guy to do that if we need to.
I wish I could be there on Friday night. I'm definitely going to be listening. I'm definitely going to be listening to Chris Cottrell and the guys and hanging on every word of that one and sitting here pounding on the table, rooting for you guys. This is a team that I've been covering for more than 10 years now. And Coach, you've done an excellent job with these guys. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be exciting, Brianna.
I mean, just the fact that you've got Braden coming back, you've got Sebastian coming back, and I'm sure a bunch of other kids coming back. So you're going to have a good chunk of each.
Yeah, your depth, absolutely.
And that's what we went into the season with multiple guys. We could play multiple guys at quarterback. We could play multiple guys at running back. And so we decided as coaching staff, how can we best prepare our team for the stretch run that we're in right now. So we went into the season, I think our first game of the year, we started 17 different players. So just a couple guys that were going both ways.
Yep.
And I think that's part of the reason why we're in the position that we're in right now, is that we were able to stay fresh, we were able to stay healthy, and we developed that depth that you were just talking about, throughout the season. So once again, a credit to our kids, the way they prepared over the summertime to put us in that position, because if they don't come back in shape, if they don't put in the work over the summertime, we can't afford to put 17 different guys out there. You can only play the guys that are prepared. We had a lot of guys prepare, a lot of guys that took coaching, and we were able to play a lot of guys throughout the season. I
know you're focused on your game, but any other key matchups out there in Class B that people ought to keep an eye on?
There's great games. I mean, great.
I was kind of leading into that point. Yeah, there's going to be some good ones.
There's going to be some good ones. The Bennington Waverly game is very intriguing to me. Because nobody's been able to touch Bennington. Aurora was the closest team to them this year in week 2, and they just run through their schedule after that. But Waverly is a team that has 3 losses to 3 teams that are still playing in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's huge.
So they're very capable. They're extremely well coached. They've got a great defense, and maybe that's what it's going to take to slow down Bennington. So I'm intrigued to see what that matchup ends up on Friday night.
Absolutely, but I know you're going to be focused on your kids. Let me keep an eye on that stuff for you. I'm sure there'll be somebody in your ear on the side.
Yeah, somebody will
know what's going on.
Chris does a good job of updating those scores after the game, so hopefully we're talking to him after a successful night, and he can fill us in on who wins and who we play the next week.
And I can't wait. till Friday night. So
how are you feeling that the season has gone overall?
Very, very pleased. Very pleased with where we're at. I think we had some growing to do early in the season, and that was evident in our early season schedule. But after that Aurora game, it was a great weekend to be a coach because we took a hard loss. It allowed us to dive into our guys, our film study, find out what we needed to do to get better. Not what Aurora did to us, but what we needed to do. And so after that, our kids took coaching, got a lot better at what we saw we were weak at, and our kids progressed week to week. So that was very, very a great feeling as a coach because our kids continued to get better, took what we were teaching them in practice and took it to Friday night games, and I think we've continued to progress each and every week.
Still think that Fort Morgan game would have been yours if we would have played it that night.
Well, I like to think that too, but that's a quality loss. That team's
Yeah.
lost one time in Colorado, excuse me, to the number 1 team in their classification.
Good football team.
They're sitting number 2 in power points in Colorado. Their playoffs start next week, so it's a quality team,
Yeah.
quality loss if you can call it that. Yeah, it might have been different, but
Yeah.
at the same time they were a quality team, and we'll be where we're at now.
Well, everybody, I guess if you can't make it to Aurora, tune it in on the radio on Friday night and give these guys some support. And I know that just thinking about them and feeling them while they're down there, they know you're there and they know this community backs them well. So good luck to Scottsbluff. Good luck to you and your coaching staff on Friday night and the kids. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you again for coming, and we'd like to close out tonight's podcast by again giving some recognition to Auto Wizard, our Winner and the Mailman sponsor. Remember, at the Auto Wizard, you can get your vehicle fixed right the first time by booking your service at the business at 2910 Red Barn Drive in Gearing. They are available to meet your light truck and automotive repair needs Monday through Thursday, 7:30 to 5 p.m., and Friday, 7:30 to 4:30 p.m. Give them a call at 308-633-1191 today. And remember to check out Winner and the Mailman each week at starherald.com. Also check out more sports coverage, including the Scottsbluff game, from the Star Herald at starherald.com or by grabbing our print edition.